This video is dedicated to my niece Chandra, and I'm going to show you how to do a water change. Here are the items you're going to need. You're going to need a bucket, a water changer. You're going to need some chemicals. Here are the chemicals that we use. You're going to need API tap water conditioner. This is my favorite one. The reason being is it has the less chemicals in it to add to your tank. You don't want to add anything you don't need. Okay, now what I'm going to do is start by cleaning the gravel in the process. If you have gravel in your tank, I'm going to show you how you do this. This particular model I use has a valve in it, one-way valve, so you stick it in the water and you just start pumping it up and down until the water starts flowing. There we go, we have a water flow. Now if you look at the bucket, you can see that the water is flowing out. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to clean the gravel. So basically what you do is you don't go deep, you just pick up the top level of the gravel, and this is how you clean the gravel with your water changer. Now, when you're doing a water change, there's a couple of things you want to keep in mind. You only want to take out about between 10 and 20% of the water at a time. The larger your aquarium is, the more it's going to seem like you're really not doing much. But trust me, it makes a big difference. So we're going to take out 20% of the water, and we'll be right back. Okay. Now, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind as you're changing your water. You need to keep in mind that you need to turn off all of your equipment. You turn off the pumps, heaters, anything except for the lights. That way you don't accidentally overheat your tank while you're doing a water change. So, while this is suctioning out, I'm going to turn off my heaters and my pumps. Also keep in mind, it's best to use a bucket rather than going down a drain, just in case you accidentally suck up some critters out your tank and they survive. You can still recover the critters. And by the way, if you have any questions about a water change, you can post it to me, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. Now mind you, you only need to take out between 10% of the water. Doing this, what it does is, it may not seem like you're doing much. This is all you have to do. You don't have to tear up the gravel. You don't have to tear the tank down and scrub it. A lot of people have the thought in their mind that you have to tear the tank down and scrub it. None of that is necessary. Basically, all I'm doing is I'm picking up fish poop. I'm trying to find as much fish poop as I can in my aquarium and take it out. Reason being is, the fish poop is where the nitrates come from. Nitrates are like bad chemicals in the tank that build up from the fish poop, the fish waste. So when we suck out a lot of this in the water change, and the nitrates that are absorbed in the water, when we take out that water, it comes out. So that makes it much more comfortable for the fish, and it helps keep your aquarium healthy. And when you break down a tank and you take everything out and you think that's what it takes to clean your tank, you're actually killing the good bacteria that have built up in your tank over time. You want to keep that bacteria in your tank. So that's the reason why we only do a 10% water change. Now, when you do this water change, you want to make sure that the water that you're using for your water change is approximately the same temperature as your aquarium water. So if you have something that you can set the water out, 10% of your water, let's say for instance, I've got a 55 gallon, 10% would be 5.5 gallons. So you want to make sure that the water that you take out is at the same temperature, and you want to use 1 drop per gallon 1 drop per gallon of this solution. This is a small bottle. The small bottle of tap water conditioner will last you a long time. I buy it in big quantities because I only buy it like once a year. As long as you keep it up, sealed up tight and closed, it'll stay good. It's only it's not really that much of a cost to purchase this stuff. Now what you want to do is, like I said, 1 drop per gallon. So, and it won't hurt if you get a little extra in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I put 7 in. And now I'm going to add the water back to my tank. Now for me, adding the water back to my tank is a lot easier than for most because I have a reserve water supply. And if you notice, I have a setup where I have a refugium in the bottom, which is a second tank that runs through my circulation system. And that's where I keep my baby fish and my snails when I breed my snails. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse my siphon and start it from my storage water and fill up from my storage water back up into the tank. And basically, like I said, with the water changer I have, you just shake it up and down in the water until it starts to flow. And to do it pretty fast sometimes. Or another way you can do it is you can take the whole pipe, submerge it in the water, put your thumb over the end of it, bring it out of the water, and it'll start flowing. See that? Now, you can do this directly back into your tank if your water is sitting higher than your tank to create a siphon. Otherwise, you have to physically pour it in. But because the way I have mine set up, I can put the water into my sump. And at this point, I can turn my pump back on and my heater back on. Now your tank will stay basically clear. Your tank will stay basically clear, and you really may experience just a little cloudiness when you first do a water change, because sometimes there's a bloom of bacteria when you do a water change. You may experience a little cloudiness from that. But for the most part, your tank will stay clear, except for when you need to scrub for algae. Your tank will stay clear because you're changing 10% of the water and you're keeping the ammonia down, which keeps down the bad bacteria, and it keeps down all the dirt in the tank. And so your tank looks nice and clean and clear most of the time. Except right after you do a water change, you may experience some bubbles, some micro bubbles. You may also experience a little cloudiness from a bacteria bloom, but give it about 24 hours, it'll go away. And that's all it is to a water change. That's all it is to maintenance on the tank. Hope you enjoy it. Take care.